What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Leo coming to you guys with yet another video. Coming at you guys today with another video, and today we're going to be talking about, in my opinion, how the Bloodline should end. I'm going to give you different scenarios and how I think it could play out, and stuff like that. So, I'm going to start with after Mania. Okay, so after Mania, well, at Mania, let's just start at Mania. We're gonna start at WrestleMania 39. We already know that the plan is to have the Usos defend the undisputed tag team titles against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And we all know it's with 3 weeks until Mania. I believe 3 weeks, and I think we're still just waiting for how we're gonna get to see Kevin Owens be a factor into the match. How long will it take before they do decide to put him in the match? Will they do it beforehand, or will they wait until the pay-per-view itself and go that route? But either, but the story between in this match is, over the last few weeks, Jey pretty much coming back to the Bloodline. And a lot of people were saying, it started with him, and it did, because the Bloodline started with Jey. Jey, he wanted to prove that he was more than just a tag team wrestler, and rightfully so. So in 2020, when the whole pandemic and everything was happening, he won a fatal four way. And he did go on to face Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship, and he competed at Clash of the Castle, not Clash of the Castle, but Clash of Champions and Hell in the Cell that year. He lost both times, and in Hell in a Cell, what happened is Roman told him, if you lost, you would have to follow orders from the Bloodline. You have to join me. And since then, it pretty much went up for there. He even told, in the whole rivalry between Roman and Jey told him, he says, why can't I provide for the family? Every time, it's always been about you, Roman. It's always been about you. You always been the top guy. You always been world champion. You always got this and that. Everybody in the family looked up to you. But then when it came to me, it's like I was just the outcast. And then when people looked at me, it's like, which one are you? Which Uso are you? And he got tired of that. Jey Uso got tired of that. And he wanted to prove to Roman that that was no longer the case, that he could be the top guy too. And I think we all could agree that he could do that. He has what it takes to kind of be that type of guy. But Roman always would use underhanded tactics to make sure that it happened, to make him seem like he's the bad guy in the situation, where Roman is not. So it was the manipulation. So we could all say that in the Bloodline, from then and now, he's been manipulated. And a lot of people have been trying to tell him that. Sami Zayn tried to tell him that. And, even when Jimmy came back before he joined, he even told Jey that. And I think here's the story that you're trying to tell here. I think Jey joined back with the Bloodline, not for Roman, but he joined back for his brother, because he knew what would happen. He knew what consequences would come with it, and he does not want to put his brother in harm's way like that. So he got back with the Bloodline to save his brother. Now, where does this take them going in WrestleMania? We all can agree that they're probably going to end up losing the tag team titles. We can do that. I think at WrestleMania, they're going to put up a good match with Sami and Kevin, but at the end of it, we're going to crown new tag team champions, and coming out of that, you can make a new story out of it, and I'm going to get to that. Now, later in the night, you have Roman Reigns on night 2 defending against Cody Rhodes. And in this, I think this is me doing a little fantasy book right here. Okay, Cody wins. They want to build a new guy. They want to do something new and fresh. So they putting their stock into a new guy. And the shock is going to be a shocking factor for Roman for sure, because he held those titles for so long. He held the title for almost 1,000 days, and he's going into WrestleMania this year. He's gonna be undisputed champion for a full year. So that's a lot of history in itself. Now, when Roman loses, it's gonna put him into haywire. He's gonna pretty much go into haywire at that point. He's gonna go into a rage. He's going to go into a rage, and next on the next, well, probably I wouldn't say Raw. Maybe if you want to have him there, but I would book this differently. Okay, well, okay, we're gonna do Raw. We're gonna do Raw, but this is gonna play into SmackDown. Okay, so on Raw, Cody comes out. He's celebrating being the new undisputed champion, finishing his story, doing something for his dad, and all of that. But not Roman doesn't come out on Raw, but Paul Heyman does, and Paul Heyman, he says you may have won the championship, but you should have won. Looked at the contract, and Cody's like, "What contract? What are you talking about? The contract?" And then Paul says, "The contract you signed. The contract stated it was only for one championship. It was only for one championship." And Cody is like, "What are you talking about?" And then Paul is like, "The contract states you it's only for one championship, and that was only for the WWE title. So that means the Universal Championship still belongs to Roman Reigns." So Cody, he might go like he throws a little jab, but he just agrees to the terms and gives the universe and lays the Universal Championship in the ring and keeps the WWE title. There you go, title split. And then Roman is still Universal Champion. So here's where it starts to get interesting. So on SmackDown, Roman says he's still Universal Champion, but he's upset with the Usos that for not retaining their tag team titles. And you know how Roman is. He doesn't like losing. He does not like losing, and he lashes out on the Usos. But mostly, he lashes out on Jey Uso. Jey Uso is very confused. Roman is like, you should have just fall in the line. You didn't play your part at WrestleMania. You failed us. You failed the Bloodline, and all of this. But Roman says, "I'm gonna give you another test. I'm gonna give you another test to prove yourself." So at Backlash, they will get another shot at the tag team titles. And here is where it starts to get interesting because Roman, he defends his Universal Championship. He's not there. He's pretty much not there for that show. But he's watching the Bloodline to see how they fare at Backlash and will they disappoint him or not. And they fail to regain the tag team titles. So this proceeds to go to the next SmackDown. And we have all Bloodline members in the ring. And Roman is furious. He is absolutely furious. He is literally on a rampage right now. And what he does, he takes his anger out on Jey. And Jimmy is very confused. But Jimmy doesn't do anything. He doesn't, try to do anything. He just stands there in awe because he doesn't know what he's witnessing. And this just is starting to restart the feud between Jey and Roman. Now, this is going to transpire with Jey probably being out for about 2 weeks. He's gonna be out for 2 weeks, but he's gonna have a sit down interview via satellite, and they're gonna be asking like how do you feel about like the Bloodline turning on you, Roman turning on you, and Jey is very speechless for the most part, and he was like, he was my family. I would have never thought he would have did something like this. I thought everything was good. I thought I was doing my part in the family, but then he just ends and he says, "I guess Sammy was right." And then that was pretty much the end of the interview. Now Jey, he shows back up, but he's different. He's the 2020 Jey Uso that was going up against Roman Reigns all over again. He's destined to get back at Roman. Because tweeted early this year, or I think last year, but what was it? No, this year. early this year. He was like saying, I want another round with Roman. I'm out of the bloodline, but this time it's actually happened. The things he said have finally came into play. Now he wants Roman, but he's trying to figure out what is it going to take to bring Roman, and he calls out Roman. He says, "I want that title." He says, "I want the Universal Championship. I want Roman Reigns. This started with me. It ends with me." And Roman just he comes out, but he just laughs it off like, "You're a joke, Jay. How many times you have to go through this? You do not compare to me. I'm the champion. You're not. The family believes in me. They won't believe in you. They can't take you serious. You can't." He's pretty much downplaying Jay like he did in 2020. He says you can't handle the responsibilities of the roles that it takes to be the top guy in the company. And Jay just goes back to what he was saying in 2020. He says, "Why can't I provide for the family? All you ever did was provide for the family. Why can't I provide for my family, for my kids, for everybody?" And this starts to see what Roman's been doing all along, trying to manipulate him to get him back in line. But Jay is starting to see things more clear now. He's seeing what he's seeing right through what Roman is trying to do, and he calls him out on that. He says, I see what you're doing, Roman. You're doing everything that we did since we were kids. Always trying to play the system. Always trying to hold me down to keep yourself relevant. Always trying to, you know, make me seem like I can't do this and can't do that. You're just doing what we're doing. It's when we were kids. You're manipulating me, but it's not working anymore because I see right through you, and I'm not gonna stop until I beat you and become Universal Champion. Now, Roman is just still laughing it off and joking, and he was saying, but then this proceeds to go after. He has a conversation with Jimmy, and he was like, "You see what he's doing to me, Jimmy? And he's gonna do the same thing to you if you stick around." And then over the next few weeks, we're in the lead up to Money in the Bank. We're headed into Money in the Bank season, and we're gonna be crowning whoever's gonna become Mr. Money in the Bank, and whatnot like that. Jay goes to Adam Pearce and just says, "I want in on that match." He says, "I want to be part of the Money in the Bank ladder match." And Adam Pearce was like, he said, "Okay, if you want to be part of Money in the Bank, you will have a qualifying match. You will have a qualifying match next week on SmackDown." And Jay says, "Okay, cool." So next week on SmackDown, we have a Money in the Bank qualifying match. We're going to have Jey Uso against... I'm trying to think of a good opponent for Jay. I don't want to... Maybe... Ooh. Against LA Knight. We'll have Jey Uso versus LA Knight. We'll do that. And they have a back and forth contest for about 10 minutes. And Jay gets the upper hand and he picks up the win. And Jay is heading into his first Money in the Bank ladder match. We've seen him compete in the Royal Rumble. We've seen him compete in Hell in a Cell. But this is not, and even Elimination Chamber. But this is something new. A new type of... This is new for him. He's never been in a Money in the Bank ladder match. He's been in Hell in a Cell. He's been in Elimination Chamber and War Games and the Royal Rumble. But he's never been in a match like Money in the Bank. He knows what's at stake if he wins this match. He has the opportunity to win this briefcase and cash in and finally prove that he could be a top guy in the company by winning the Universal Championship. Now, and we over the next few weeks, everybody's going to be getting more and more behind Jay, amping him up as he heads into his first Money in the Bank ladder match. And Jay just saying, "I'm going to win that briefcase. I'm going to prove that I have what it takes, that I will be a provider for my family. I will become Universal Champion. We're going to run it back, Roman. I'm going to beat you whether you like it or not." And everybody's starting to get really behind him. He is getting more over by the week because if you think about the Bloodline storyline, he's been the MVP. He's been there since the very beginning. So I think, yeah, Cody makes sense. Sammy would make sense. Kevin would make sense. But Jay will also make sense too. And I think it's kind of falling dry, but people kind of seem to forget about that. But it would make sense in the grand scheme of things. Now, how do you get to the end goal? So we have Money in the Bank. We have Jey Uso, Ricochet, Sami Zayn, and we also will have people from Raw. We will have ouch. I'm trying to think of everybody who I would have in this match. I would have Sami Zayn because I think he's gonna play part of the story. He's gonna be part of the story. Um, who Seth Rollins for sure, and Logan Paul. I guess just to throw a random pick in there. Okay, so this match for the most part is very more high flying. Jay is just going in and out the ring, just throwing punches, just really getting the crowd into it by having so many spots. He does a Uso splash from the top of the ladder, which is pretty much the spot of the night, the spot of the night, and he does it to Seth Rollins. He does it to Seth Rollins, but it's not. He doesn't come off as a heel in a sense. He's still over. Now, then it comes down to Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. And we usually see the last two people just standing there. And it's going to come down to blows, but in this case, it doesn't. Sami says, "I finished my story. I'm glad you see the light, Jay." And he just says, "Jay, do it." And he just lets him go up the ladder. He climbs the ladder and unhooks the briefcase, and as the Mr. Money in the Bank. Now, over the next few weeks, he celebrated being Mr. Money in the Bank. Roman comes out, and he's still trying to downplay him. He just says, just cash that contract in, just lay down, and this all will be over. But Jay is not going for it. He is not going for it. He is intent on proving that he will become Universal Champion. He will not stop until he becomes the Universal Champion. He's intent on getting his pound of flesh on Roman Reigns. Now, this is good. Over the next few weeks, Roman is just gonna really up the ante to try to get him back in line. And what happens? Roman says, he says this: if you don't relinquish that briefcase, something's gonna happen to your brother. He's playing manipulation again. He's trying to get him back in line. He's doing like he did a couple weeks ago. Since when he left, he was trying to put the blame on Jimmy. And if Jay didn't come back, Jimmy was gonna be at fault. He was gonna get in trouble for it. He was gonna have to pay the consequences for Jay's actions. So Jay is in a bit of dilemma now. So it's like, what does he do? Does he give up this life-changing opportunity to save his brother yet again? Or does he, let his brother ultimately pay the price? And he doesn't. He doesn't relinquish the briefcase, but he doesn't let his brother take the fall for it. When it looks like Roman is about to attack Jimmy, Jay is right behind Roman and attacks Roman before Roman could get to Jimmy. Now, and then on next week's SmackDown, what happens is Roman says, "Okay, Jay." No, he tells Jimmy, "Make a choice. Are you on with Roman, or are you with your brother?" And this puts Jimmy right in the middle of it all, because he has Jay as his brother, his twin. But then you have Roman, who would you go to ultimate lengths to do to be ahead in the business, to stay at the top of his family. And Jay and Jimmy both know that. Jay knows it very well from going to battle with him times before. Jimmy was almost there. He knows what lies ahead if they do decide to go this route. But Jimmy, he's just very confused, and it's not ultimately clear where he stands in the bloodline between Roman and Jay, because he doesn't know what side to take. He has, like I said, twin versus somebody who will just go to ultimate list to destroy them and take them down. And Even going back to what they had in 2020, he says if you didn't fall in line, you're gonna kick out the bloodline, and everybody, like your brothers, all of them, disowned from the family. So they know that that's still gonna be probably back in their head somewhere. So they know that that could possibly be a factor if they do decide to take this route and not join back with Roman. But but Jey doesn't care. He is dead set on becoming champion, beating Roman, finishing his story. Had to come full circle. It started with him. He wants to be the one to end it. So, okay. Now, it's just pretty much, for the most part, it's just Solo and Roman. It's still just them. You can't really have the bloodline really with just one person, I don't think. Comment down below, can they have, if it's just one person in the bloodline, could it be still called the bloodline? Because I think it should be a group. But it's just him and Solo. If you go back to, I'm gonna do a few callbacks. If you go back to Royal Rumble, he didn't even say anything to Jimmy. He didn't say anything to Jey. He just said something to Solo. He told Solo, he says, after they attacked Sammy and Kevin, he told, as they were leaving, he told Solo, we're at war now, Solo. We take no prisoners. So that means something is going to happen. I believe, with that being said, hearing that, something will happen where it's just Roman and Solo. The Usos will no longer be a part of this. Something will happen along these lines. So that's why I have to make that callback, because I think this is going to play into this. So I think not only is Jey out, but Jimmy's out of the bloodline too, because Jimmy, he's telling Roman is telling him, you can't make a choice. You don't need to be in the bloodline. Get out. And he pretty much, as Jimmy is very confused. He's trying to reason with Roman, but Roman is not having it. He's getting more angry. You could see as his face and demeanor is changing very slowly, but you can tell, slowly but surely. And as soon as Jimmy turns his back, he's attacked by Roman and Solo. So this proceeds to play into the next upcoming pay-per-view, which is SummerSlam. Because SummerSlam is coming up. So, now, on the next week, Jey is furious. He says, you attacked my brother. You did this to my brother for what? See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You've been doing this for years. And I'm tired of it. And what happens, Jey, he says, I'm not going to be a sneaky person to cash in when you're not looking. At least I'm man enough to do it to your face. So he tells Roman, I'm cashing my contract for your Universal Championship at SummerSlam. At SummerSlam, I become Universal Champion. At SummerSlam, I ascend to the top of the mountain. At SummerSlam, I become the new head of the table and the new tribal chief of the family. So, this is going to get amped up from there, because there's 2 weeks left. So we have the go on, which is the next week. Roman and Jey have their contract signing and their little face off to get their little last few words in before their encounter at SummerSlam in the main event. Jey, he just goes on. He says, all this time I was blind to see what you were doing, but it took Sami Zayn to really show me what kind of person you really are. A guy that would hold his family down to be at the top of the card. A person that would only be, and he tells him the bloodline was supposed to have been for everybody, but it turns out the bloodline was only to protect you. We've always been taking bullets for you since day one, but when it came to us, you never took a bullet for us. The only person that ever had the guts to take a bullet for us was Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn took bullets for me and my brother. He stepped in. When Jimmy couldn't compete for the tag titles, he stepped up. When you was going to get Claymore, he stepped up. Everybody has been protecting you. If it wasn't for he tells Roman, if it wasn't for me, if it wasn't for Solo, if it wasn't for Jimmy, you wouldn't be champion as long as you were. You wouldn't have even made it past Royal Rumble in 2020. If it wasn't for us, you would have lost to Kevin Owens a long time ago. If it wasn't for us, you would have lost to Finn Balor, John Cena. You would have lost to Drew McIntyre. You would have lost to Sami Zayn. And this is starting to eat at Roman. This is starting to make Roman irate. And he says, "Who are you talking to? You don't understand. You don't understand what it's like to be in my position. You can't walk a mile in my shoes. You don't understand the responsibilities it's going to take to be in my position, to be the champion. You will never understand that. That's why I kept you from that. That's why I held you back from that. Because you wasn't ready. You weren't ready then, and you sure aren't ready now." So this just proceeds to just end at SummerSlam. Jey, Roman, they fight. They fight. They go to blows. Over the past few months after him getting kicked out the Bloodline, they haven't been able to go to blows because for the most part, Roman has not been there. And if he is there, he's pretty much, protect himself. Playing the heel that he is by having security, make sure that they do not have any type of interaction. So on the final episode before SummerSlam, they finally come to blows, but Roman gets the upper hand. Where it looks like Jey is about to, put him down, it's not the case because Roman just goes to underhand attacks by hitting Jey with a low blow. And then he stands over him. He puts his foot on Jey's chest and holds the Universal Championship in the air. And he says, "Just like 2020, you will acknowledge me." So now we're at SummerSlam. Jey Uso. Main event, Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. It is a back and forth, story-driven match. Family versus family, cousin versus cousin, running it back for the first time in about almost 3 years. And almost 3 years. Almost 3 years to the day that they fought for the first time in their careers for the Universal Championship at Clash of Champions. And Jey knows what he's going to have to do. Jey knows he cannot say die in this match. He can never give up in this match. He knows he's going to have to go to deep water territory to become Universal Champion. But Jey, he doesn't care. He knows he doesn't care. He is going to go in there and put in the fight of his life and wants to walk out champion. And Jey goes back and forth. This match goes on for about 20 minutes. Roman hits 2 spears in this match, but Jey kicks out. And Jey Uso, he pulls some different tricks out of his bag by hitting Roman with his own Superman punch. And hits Roman with the spear, but Roman kicks out. Then he goes for none other than the Uso splash, but then he gets speared. Roman reverses, but then gets speared, and Roman tries to pin him, but Roman is still selfish. He's still selfish. He just laughing it off. He said, "Is this what y'all want? Is this what you guys think is gonna become a Universal Champion?" He's just playing it off. He's playing it off in the end. But here's the thing: when you do that, sometimes it will come back to get you, and believe me, it will. So now Roman is just playing it off, and Paul is on the outside. Just put him away already. Put him away. Roman, he's not listening to Paul. He just wants to continue to punish Jey. He wants to punish Jey for to make him regret the decision that he made by turning his back on the Bloodline, for leaving for not once but twice. And then when he did come back for the second time, he said he didn't come back for Roman. He only came back for Jimmy. So that made Roman upset because you came back for someone else that's not me. When the whole Bloodline, in Roman's eyes, is about him and him alone. Now, here we are. Here we are at the closing moments of the match. Jey Uso looks like he's about to win. He ends up with the guillotine, but luckily, Jimmy comes out and puts Jey's foot on the rope, and Roman is so confused and furious, and he tries to go after. Jey. No, he tries to go after Jimmy, and then you have like an exchange where they run around the ring. Jimmy comes back through the ring, but then gets caught. Jey catches Roman when he comes back in with a super kick. He hits him with 5 super kicks. He hits him with 5 super kicks. He hits him with a spear. And he hits him with a Uso splash. 1, 2, 3. And new Universal Champion Jey Uso. The crowd is erupting. Jey is in tears. Jimmy is in tears. Roman is still on the mat. Paul Heyman is in awe as of what he just witnessed before his eyes play out. And Solo is on the outside. And Roman is coming too. He tells Solo, come with me. And Solo, at this point, he's had a change of heart. And he leaves Roman. And he joins and celebrates with his brother Jey in the ring. Now, this is not the new start of a new bloodline. No, this is just them celebrating Jey Uso finally becoming champion. Becoming a singles champion, but becoming the new Universal Champion. And this just starts like, well, it's not like the Bloodline again or anything like that, or kind of like how the New Day were. Nothing like that. I feel like what happens here is just pretty much they all go their separate ways. I think after showing what Jey can do, they all have found out that they can go at it alone. Jimmy, he feels like, after Jey becoming Universal Champion, he says, I've had a change of heart. I feel like if Jey can become, champion, so can I. So he decides to go after the US or IC title. And the same was for Solo. He wants to, go back to his roots of being a street champion and really show what he can do on his own and go back to what everybody used to know and love from him in NXT. So he does that. But that is the end of the video, you guys. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Hit the post notification bell so every time I post a new video. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. We're trying to get to that milestone by King of the Ring. We're trying to get there by getting 500 subscribers by King of the Ring. King and Queen of the Ring. But that, yeah. Can we get 3 likes on this video? No. Since it's been almost 3 years, let's get 3 likes on this video. 3 likes for almost 3 years for that this storyline has been almost going on for. And comment down below, how do you feel about my breakdown on how I feel like the Bloodline could end? Do you think it would be cool to see, Roman keep one of the title and then Jey takes it? Do you think it would be a cool moment for Jey to get that moment since the Bloodline started with him and it ends with him? Do you think it would be a cool moment that if he was able to win Money in the Bank and him going through this whole story, trying to rescue his brother and become champion in the process and also get Solo Sikoa to get all of them back from the clutches of Roman? I think that would be a cool story. I think I would love to see this play out on actual TV. But that is the end of the video, you guys. I appreciate you guys kicking it with me, and I'll see you guys in the next video.